darn it, they got my dollar, they got everything. You know what I mean? So it's like there's this feel that your destiny has already been controlled and directed for you. Regardless of what you do, there's a feel that everything has been controlled. And I wanted to basically start off talking about that because I want to kind of use that and how they operate and connect that to how we are the Messianic Illuminati. The people who call themselves Illuminati and make themselves out to be the power that rules everything stole that from the people who were operating with the Creator's creative force. Right. You see? So I want to deal with that. I wanted to kind of go into that because a big part of how the whole amped up thing of fear is put out to us is because of how things are portrayed around us. You see what I'm saying? I've always talked about this. You look on TV, you hear about swine flu, you're afraid to go outside, you're afraid for your children to touch other children. You hear about a financial crisis, so you're afraid of every dollar. You see certain symbols and you're taught to be afraid of it and things of that nature. You're like, oh, that's the devil. I'm scared to walk near that. You see what I'm saying? Pyramid. The pyramid, a star in a circle. You know, the star in a circle kind of stuff. But a lot of things are put out there to short circuit who and what we already are. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I wanted to deal with this, because we are in a time right now where the opposite of that is so much upon us. The opposite of us coming into understanding the power we have to build our reality according to a reality that benefits everyone is already upon us now. It's not coming. We're already within it, you see? Right. But what it takes is us to come together and scope out and understand who and what we are. You see what I'm saying? That's what's happening now. And I want to start with that because, like, the one thing that's powerful about us as human beings is that whatever we choose to invest in, we get returns on it. You see what I'm saying? Whatever we choose to invest in, we get returns on it. All right? So that means if we choose to invest in dividing others, we get a return on dividing others. You know what I mean? If we choose, and you usually get a return on dividing others by investing in yourself selfishly. You see? So if you invest in yourself selfishly, you get a division of relationships. Have y'all ever seen that? People who invest solely in getting things for themselves divide their relationships with other people. You know what I mean? And so I want to deal with that and the fact of how the whole principle of what we invest in and how we choose to bring that investment together is what breaks not only us free, but the rest of the world free from this kind of mentality of fear. It breaks people free. But there has to be people who begin to use who and what they are to begin to build a world other than that. Okay? Now, the first thing that I want to go into with this is I want to deal with how the power of symbols. Okay, the power of symbols. That's the first thing I want to deal with. Anybody who reads the scriptures, if you look at them, you understand that the scriptures is not just like a Moby Dick kind of book, but instead it's a book that is dealing with codes and symbols. You see what I'm saying? So the Bible is dealing with codes and symbols. To give a quick synopsis of how man came into being, right? And how it relates to the scriptures. Before we came into the flesh, we were energy and thought like the Creator. We were light. Okay? And when the support of that is in the scriptures when it says that they fell and ate from the tree, which is all symbolic, it says that, and then God clothed them in flesh. So if they were not flesh before that, if they were just flesh then, what were they before that? They were the energy and thoughts and power of the Creator. Okay? Now, what happened is when they were initially light. They were a reflection of the Creator, energy and thought, right? There came a certain period where they desired not only to just be a reflection of the Creator, but they desired to be like the Creator. Okay? So imagine you have a baby, right? The baby first just receives from you. It's made in your image and likeness, right? All it does first is receives from you. Now eventually that baby gets tired of just taking from you. It gets tired of just breastfeeding. It just gets tired of just being held. It sees you walking. It sees you have the ability to give to everything else. So what does it do? It pushes away. Because it wants to go practice, crawl in, it wants to go experience things. Y'all see that? This goes to some stuff that was talked about this morning a little bit. So there comes a point where what emerged inside of man as a spiritual being, he decided he wanted to be like the Creator, but he couldn't do that staying in the arms, so to speak, of the Creator's energy. So he decided he wanted to separate and go discover how to be a giver to creation like the Creator was a giver to us. Okay? Now, when he made that decision, what happens, he began to descend into this physical world. So it's almost like gases condensating into water, condensating into ice. So we were encapsulated in this physical body, which gave us time to learn what was inside of us originally, which was the light energy of the Creator. I'm paraphrasing a lot of stuff right now. Alright? So when we came into this flesh, that gave us opportunity to go through different situations, different obstacles, different desires, different thoughts, so that we could come back to understand what it is we fell from. Because when you fall from something and then recognize what it was, then you've chosen it. It's just like nobody wants to be in a relationship with someone who's not choosing them. You don't want to be in an arranged marriage. You know what I mean? Well, if we grew up in a culture like that, we would. But the thing is, we want someone to choose us. Because the powers are within choice. So that's what man was exercising. Now, that scripture, when it's talking about Adam and Eve falling, it looks like it's just one verse and then another verse like it happened like that. But it was a process, just like it takes gas time to condensate into water and time for that water to condensate into ice. So this was over a process of a great period of time, right? Now in the middle of that process, what was occurring was this. As man was beginning to become more attached to, he was becoming more attached to becoming physical and feeling those urges of being an individual rather than being connected, what happened is this. Y'all ever seen like Egyptian hieroglyphs? Or you seen the ancient Mayan stuff? It's never in letters, it's in pictorial stuff, right? What was occurring was that when they were congealing into flesh, and when they had congealed into flesh, right? What happened through that process is they were remembering certain symbols and things, right? In the realm of that process that reminded them of where they came from. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why, so what happened is the best way to convey an idea, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. What they were doing was recording things when they had come into this flesh, and it talks about Adam having children. They were conveying, they were saying, son, look at these symbols, these words, these sounds, these words remind us of where we were so that we can reconnect, okay? So through that time period, they were establishing a record of things that they passed on orally, and then they wrote them down. That's why you see the writings in caves. It's not just about their cultural history. It's about where they came from spiritually. You see? So when I know all y'all have heard of Atlantis, right? Atlantis was a part of an era that was in between them coming from the spiritual to the physical. That's why it doesn't exist anymore. It was a transitional era. And when they came into the physical, that land and other lands that I'm not mentioning right now, like you can go read about named Lemuria and things, these were places where people were still in the process of coming from the spiritual to the physical. This went on over millions of years, you see. And what they did in those lands was they were recording the information so that it could be passed down to others so that we could get back. Thought or question, because I want to just stop right there. Any thought or question?
Repeat that again.
Okay, give you this. You know that you're